But I would be bold enough to say that 80% of success is mindset and 20% is strategy. You can learn strategy on Google. I mean, people will ask questions in Facebook groups and think that that's going to solve the problem. But unless you experientially put yourself out there and learn how to deal with fear of being visible, for one thing, which is a huge thing.
Hey friends, welcome to the Business of Homestaging podcast. This is your backstage pass to business intelligence for creatives. Are you driven by your passion for design and decorating so much that you're happy to do it for free? That was me until I made 6 figures in my first year as a homestager. Yes, real estate staging is serious business with the potential for 6 or even 7 figures in revenue. Your talent is a great start, but building a profitable business requires so much more than creating beautiful spaces. Get the boost of confidence you need to monetize your talent, keep your phones ringing, and your pipelines full. Grab the popcorn as I pull back the curtains on the best-kept secrets with inspiring conversations and success stories of challenges, wins, and everything in between. I've made so many mistakes so you don't have to. If this Nigerian girl can do it, you, my friend, can do it too. Let's go. Today, I have the amazing Marianne Cherico. Marianne is a homestagers coach, a trained personal and professional development coach, a designation she earned at Co-Active Training Institute. She also owned and operated a successful homestaging business since 2005. Her background includes 27 years in real estate. She offers one-on-one and group coaching services, helping homestagers create a life and business that sets their soul on fire. Marianne is an avid public speaker. Some of her platforms include RISA, IHASP, and NAPO conferences. Marianne's podcast, Homestagers and Designers on Fire, focuses on business and mindset strategies. Welcome, my friend. Thank you for joining us, Marianne.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. I'm thrilled to be here.
Awesome. You know, the funny thing is I have been on the other side of this before when you interviewed me for your podcast. And I recently met you in person in Las Vegas. I remember walking down the hallway and I saw you coming. You were going to your room. You were tired, but you were still so gracious to give this fan girl a hug. So I love you for that.
Oh my gosh, I love hugs.
Yeah.
It was great to meet you in person.
Oh, thank you. You too. So let's start from the basic. 27 years in real estate, and you've been staging since 2005, almost 20 years. That is a wealth of experience right there. I would love to just pick your brain and continue to pick your brain. So let me start by asking, why don't you, first of all, introduce yourself in your own words, and then we get into it.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I started out in real estate. Before that, I was an actress. That's what I studied in college. I went to Emerson College in Boston and I joined the Screen Actors Guild. I was so passionate about it. And it was more like I loved theater and I loved the connections that you made in rehearsals. I didn't care about like being a star or that kind of thing so much as I love the intimacy of the connections you made with other actors and, you know, the relationships. And I really just loved it so much in the creative aspect of acting. And then when I had my daughters, I was running into Boston for auditions all the time and stuff. And they became my number one. They became my reason for living. And I revolved everything around them. So I got my real estate license and I was working in real estate for 10 years on my own. And then I was going to give it up because it was so hard bringing up the 3 kids, and real estate's a very demanding job. People think it's, showing houses, just like they think staging is just the beautiful model homes you see in magazines, and they don't understand the hard work and physical labor that goes into it. This guy who had a really successful real estate business, asked me to be his licensed assistant, and I could work from 9 to 2. So I was the only one on his team at the time, and I helped him like triple his business because I would scoop people up offline and I would nurture them and turn them into loyal clients. We were a top producing New England real estate team. So I worked with him for 17 years. And back in 2005 in Massachusetts, staging really started out on the West Coast. But here it was like people thought staging was painting scaffolding. They had no idea. And they really, the seller's mentality was sell my overpriced, messy listing. Don't complain about it. You're getting a lot of commission. So it was really hard to get them to invest thousands of dollars in order to take it to this level of staging that I aspired to do. You know, I wanted to do those big, sexy model homes that my West Coast colleagues were doing at the time, but it wasn't going to happen. So what I did was I convinced the realtor that I worked with, who was a real forward-thinking realtor, pay me to do the consultations and offered as a value add to his clients. Well, you had to sell that it was a value add. People really didn't want to do more than what they were doing to get their houses ready. So he was a great salesman and he really believed in it. Of course, the first time I did it, it was a mess because the people were just so resistant. It was just like throw yourself into the fire. They had a gorgeous house and everything in it was pink. The cabinets were that pickled pink. It was this gorgeous brick front colonial in a great neighborhood, but they couldn't figure why they'd been through 3 brokers and they haven't sold it yet. And now I'm telling them that they have to deep pink their house. And the wife was not happy at all. And I was afraid that my agent was going to think that this was bad because it was bad on him. She'd be mad at him. But what ended up happening, he was the third agent in, remember, is that instead of doing any of this stuff, she didn't want to do any of this stuff. They dropped the price $70,000 and they sold. They sold it. So it ended up working because having a different perspective from a stager tipped the scale for that agent. And he, continued to refer me. And that led to other agents referring me and ultimately all kinds of design and staging jobs through the years. They did model homes and luxury homes and occupied and tons of consults and design consults. And I even got referred to 3 of the New England Patriots who play in my hometown for designing their homes, all because real estate agents referred me. So real estate agents are the gift that keeps on giving.
I love that. I didn't even know this about you, being an actress. And, every time I get together with someone, I'm always so fascinated by the coolness of the things they've done before coming into home staging. We talk all the time about, I'm starting something new, but there's always room for change. Your kids came. I was a stay-at-home mom before I went into real estate. So I can relate to all the things that you're saying. Like just because we're moms doesn't mean we can't be anything else. And there's so much out there that we can do and connect with. So now tell me, thinking back 20 years ago when you started, what were the barriers that you encountered apart from just people not knowing what staging is and you had to sell the idea to them? What were some other barriers that you encountered and how did you surmount them?
The biggest barrier was getting people to believe in the investment of staging. And I see this today in some areas where staging isn't common. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like pick your poison. It's either really common in your area and there's a lot of competition. So that's one set of challenges, or it's not common and you're the pioneer. I kind of like being the pioneer.
Me too. That's a better place to be, I think. And if you can just take advantage of that and run the marketing and make yourself like the go-to person, your face is everywhere, your voice is everywhere. There is no way not to succeed without this, the competition. In the Seattle area, the competition is really, really stiff. It's a lot of people doing home staging. And so you have to come up with extra ways to differentiate yourself. So the efforts for sure pays off. Like here you use mindset a lot, and that is something that I really, really key into. I work with a mindset coach that helps me keep my mind straight because a lot of the things that we go through, the things that we want to do, the things that we don't do, they are all tied to our mindset and how we see things from our perspective. It's just a lot of drama. Once you unpack it and once you separate the drama from the facts, you can move forward. So what are some common mindset blocks that you see talking to homestagers, and how do you help them get past that?
I mean, there are so many mindset blocks that people have because 95% of our brains and, the results of how we act because of the thoughts that are subconscious is tied to mindset. And I think that whenever I'm working with a client, they're looking for the silver bullet strategy. And strategy, of course, is so important. I am not negating that, but I would be bold enough to say that 80% of success is mindset and 20% is strategy. You can learn strategy on Google. I mean, people will ask questions in Facebook groups and think that that's going to solve the problem. But unless you experientially put yourself out there and learn how to deal with fear of being visible, for one thing, which is a huge thing. A lot of people have stage fright. I used to feel like I was going to throw up before I went on stage. So I get it. But it doesn't stop you from doing it. When you do it, you get better. A lot of people have imposter syndrome. They're the most talented, and yet they don't think they have something of value. And they don't know how to articulate that value. There's mindset issues around pricing. How can they price this much of that one? There's the comparison thing, which drives me crazy because I see a lot of complaining on social media. I'm going to go on a little rant here. Sitting around complaining about things like real estate agents should stay in their lane, or this one did that, or this stager is undercharging is a waste of precious energy. It's putting your focus on what's not working instead of focusing on what you can do. You can't control what other people are doing. I know that sometimes it's venting, but when people are doing that, they're looking for evidence of the problem instead of the solution. So there's so many ways that mindset shows up. When I was trained as a coach at Coactive Training Institute, so much of it is on mindset. Your thoughts become the beliefs that you have, which cause the feelings that you have, which causes you to act or not act. Let's say your thoughts are that real estate agents don't hire stagers in my area. You might be taking all the action in the world, doing what you're supposed to be doing. But if your thought is that, you're going to show up from that place. So you come from that mindset and that energy. And also the energy that you show up with, you have to be positive. You have to be a grateful person. You have to have gratitude. And just showing up from a higher vibrating energy. This is a little bit woo and a little bit law of attraction, but it's all scientifically proven.
I'm all about the woo-woo of things because this is just how the universe works. This is how energy and vibration gets you where you need to be. And when you started talking about I'm shaking my head. I'm doing all the things because I'm hearing all the things that we hear on the streets of homestaging and things that even happen to us. Because I have the fear of the camera. I've been doing videos. You can't tell, but I get in front of it and I'm just like, I'm just going to do it because I have a message and I have a purpose and I have to get over my fears to get the information out there to the people that need it, because it's not more about me, it's about the people. Because when I think about that thing that stops people from doing what they want to do, if you take yourself out of the equation and don't think about how you're going to feel or whether you have the right thing to say, and think about the people who actually need what you have to give, you will get out of your own way and you will do so much better when you think that way of giving versus focusing inwards. The visibility also is a huge problem because I had this problem. Like, if I didn't have my business, I probably won't even be on social media at all. Because
none of us would.
Right? I've always been an extremely private person. And then you're in business, your business cannot be the best kept secret. You just have to put it out there. And yes, people are going to judge you. Not everyone is going to like what you're doing, but the few people who do, you're doing them a good service by not holding back.
Yeah. And that's another mindset issue that a lot of people worry about is, what people are going to think about them and how dare they're going to think who is she to, say I'm a home stager, especially beginning stagers. I work with a lot of stagers who are certified and they drank from the fire hose, and there's some great certification programs, but they're overwhelmed and they don't know where to focus their time and energy. And they're chasing after all the shiny objects, feeling like they got to do all the things. And my thing is, let's get money in the door.
Right. That's why we're talking about facts, numbers versus the drama. Everything else is drama. It's not going to make me money. I don't have time to give to it. So what can you tell someone who's just starting how to even find real estate agents? You started as a real estate agent. I did too, but I still had to prove that I can do the work. So for someone who doesn't even have the background of real estate coming into home staging, what would you recommend to them on how to get the attention of agents and to prove themselves enough to get business from the agents?
I think the messaging has to be spot on when you're talking to a real estate agent. And a lot of stagers feel as though they're being salesy. And what I like to teach them is that you're coming from a place of service. Like you're giving them something, but they don't even realize how much value you bring to them until you connect the dots. So it's more than just saying we help you and your clients sell homes and faster and for more money. Real estate agents like that, but they really like it when they can look like the hero, especially the smart, savvy, forward-thinking agents who are my ideal clients. Another thing is you can't sit behind a computer and do a bunch of Instagram posts and expect to get real estate agent business. You need to meet with them face to face because they're not going to refer you to their precious clients. Remember, when they get a listing, they don't get paid until that closes. Mm-hmm. And so if they lose that listing for any reason because they, aggravate a seller, they would not like you very much if you didn't represent them well. So they want to be crystal clear sure that you're going to represent them well. They just get all caught up in their head about, what do I say? I don't want to sound salesy. And I'm like, get to know them, ask them questions and listen. Yeah. Let them talk. And then say to them, would you like to hear how I can help you get listings?
And there is no shortcut to, if you have decided to be a business owner, whatever kind of business, what we find is a lot of us creatives, it's very difficult for them to take off the creative hat and put on the business hat, or even wear both at the same time, because sometimes you have to. And there is no way around it. You just have to be ready to talk to people. You need to be ready to get in front of people. You need to be able to pick up the phone, talk, and close the deal. Everyone who is in real estate should understand the basics, how to get the confidence to even reach out to people, because that's a big deal too. You're like shrinking yourself back because you feel like you don't know what to say. Yeah, but there are resources like Marianne that can help with that.
But another thing is, and this is something that's really important, Joké, and you're going to get this because this is how you roll. They have to 10 times what they're doing. They think that, so for example, I just work with a client. I adore her and she takes action, and we love that. We love the action takers.
Yeah.
And she is just starting her business. She reached out to 130 agents by email, which is, your rate of return may not be as good, because they don't always open their emails and stuff. She got 3 coffee dates with agents. She's saying, I only got 3. And I'm like, you got 3. That could lead to all kinds of jobs. And not only that, it was like the first, you have to reach out 13 times. You can't just expect to reach out once. You got to follow up. It's an ongoing thing. And you have to do the work.
So what common challenges do real estate agents, which changing the direction now to think about agents, what challenges do they face that home stagers can help solve? apart from just the staging?
The climate for real estate agents now is so hard because I know, at least in my area, it's a big seller's market and it's slim pickings for listings. And the agents, a lot of them are hurting because, even though they're making more money per listing because the houses are more expensive, there's less listings and it's very, very, very competitive. So what I try to teach is to show the agents how you help them get those listings with solid strategies. And so that you're on their team. They don't get paid till they close the deal. So they need to have a pipeline of deals because anything can happen. There can be a title issue that they have no control over at the end of the transaction, right before they're going to close. One of the presentations that I do and I offer it in that class is, it's all about staging your home to sell. And if you align with a real estate agent to do this, it's like giving them gold. It's a win-win. You want a win-win situation. It's not that we're better or they're better. Tag your real estate agents when they list a home. And I always give them props about paying for my consult as part of their marketing plan. I'm like, smart, savvy agents do this. And then I tag them and I say, check out this listing by this agent. And I also want to kind of give a little bit of, not a dig, but an incentive to other real estate agents to see that I'm promoting these agents that are doing this.
Yeah, so many ways that we can partner with and collaborate with our agents to help their business, help our own business. I have a few agents that we work with that they would always bring me on their listing consultation because they want the sellers to hear directly from the expert. And it makes them look good. Like I offered that to one person. I was like, oh, that's a great idea because I am here to analyze and give them all the comparative market analysis and all the numbers, but this is the designer that's going to market this house from the perspective of home buyers. And it becomes a partnership and we're like a team. I am part of their marketing team and I help them talk to the clients in the ways that they don't know how to because they're not experts in that area. So again, shifting gears because I really want to read up on you. And I see that you do also have interior design background. And how does that play into your multiple income stream? When you get really good in the business and you've been there, I built a reputation, you're going to grow. Demand is going to increase. And I have been there, done that, where I'm now at a place in my business where I don't want to continue expanding. Therefore, I am looking for ways to have different income streams and grow. How do you structure your business in a way that you're growing sustainably? Because it's very easy, and I see this happen all the time, where a staging business keeps growing, and then it grows out of control. Out of control just for me means that you make the money, you throw the money back in the business, the profits you're not retaining. I have been there, but I'm getting to a point where I have given enough to the business. I'm talking to the business like a person now, like you've taken enough. Now you need to start giving back to me. And giving back to me just means that whatever profits I make, I would like to retain and not run after more inventory, which leads to more storage space, bigger warehouse, which leads to more people. Where does that stop? What is your best advice for making sure that you're retaining some of your profits versus reinvesting? Because growth requires a lot of money.
So there's so much to unpack there. My business model for staging and design, I just made as easy as I could because I, didn't want to grow. I didn't want to have a warehouse in that respect. I love doing consults. That's really all I do now because I want to focus on my coaching. But I worked with a rental furniture company but I had my own accessories. So I'd rent back the accessories. I'd coordinate the rental furniture. And that was, kind of easy, even though it's kind of a pain, but I didn't have to worry about that kind of overhead. And I liked that. Well, as far as the design jobs, I charge for the design consultation. It's up to 2 hours. And then I do up a proposal based on the scope of the work. And if they agree to it, I send a letter of agreement, but I just charge for blocks of time up front. Easy peasy. Now, a lot of designers that I've worked with, eventually they want to do the flat fees, and I get that. And they want to deal with the wholesale furniture and all that. I never wanted to do that. It just wasn't my gig. As far as making sure you're being profitable, basically you have to decide what all your costs are for doing that job and plug that in before anything. And then what you want to get paid for that job. But you also have to amortize the overhead that you have for that warehouse and, the shrink wrap and the heat and electricity and all your website, all that stuff. And you have to be able to amortize that into the job. So if you're doing 10 staging jobs a month and your overhead is $5,000, then, you got to charge $500 more in order to recoup that. I mean, that's one way of looking. You can look at numbers all kinds of different ways. Often, I don't think people think about adding in that overhead. Then you got to think about cost of acquisition of new furniture and lifetime value of the furniture, your inventory system. So you really kind of have to get into the nitty gritty of the numbers, just really knowing your numbers backwards and forward. Also, things are seasonal. So you don't want your interior design business paying for your staging business. You want to be able to make it profitable. Having said all that, the first few years aren't always profitable because you're building your business. You're investing in certification and coaching and inventory and all of that. And so you're going to have more time than money, but that's when you're marketing and you're meeting with the agents and all that. So does that answer your question?
Yeah. It's a very broad topic, right? So just touching on all those things to be mindful of. It all boils down to the numbers. There's math and then there's drama. Show me the numbers. I don't want to hear about the drama. What's the bottom line? And what is it going to require of me to make sure that those numbers that you said, the fixed costs, so you have to pay every month versus the direct cost of getting the job, like the cost of moving, cost of labor, all of those. I read that book, Profit First, the best book ever. And then I started to practice what it says, because you can decide how much profit you want to make, add it on top of what it costs you to get the job, and then now think about spreading and determine how many jobs you need to do to be at that number where you want to be.
And the fact is that I don't care if you say I have $1 million staging company. It's not what you make, it's what you keep. And so you could make more money literally doing consultations because you're keeping more of it. And so that's why you really, really have to know your numbers.
So many things to think about when it comes to pricing. And that's why it is the most discussed topic that people still cannot get the right answer to, just because people get annoyed. Like, they ask the question, what should I charge for? And please do not say it depends, but darling, it depends.
Right.
If you're dealing with like hardwood floors throughout in a mansion and you need like 14 rugs, we've done that before. What is the cost of doing that? I don't have all the facts that you have. I don't know your situation. I don't know what your monthly overhead and bills are.
Right. I mean, warehouses in LA are going to be different than warehouses in Idaho. So you got to factor all of that in. Bottom line is you got to be profitable. People worry too much about what other people are charging. It's good intel, but it's not enough. And you don't want to be the lowest price. And, if you want to be the highest price, then you better damn well show why you're worth it.
Absolutely. So now, because you just said, look at your competition, benchmark and all that. Let's talk about competition. I would confess, when I got started, of course, I didn't know what I was doing. And I was looking at this person. I was looking at that person. I literally lost myself in the process of trying everything until I started to look inwards. I'm the opposite now, where I close my eyes completely to what everyone else is doing and thinking what's in front of me, what's inside of me, and what do people need from me, my target market, learning and how I can provide them has helped me to be more focused. But yes, you have to know what your competition is doing. I mean, you just have to, that's part of business, but not so much that you're so fixated on what they are doing and you're leaving behind what you should be doing and what serves your soul and how you can serve your people. Okay, so let's also talk about collaboration, because this, what we're doing right now, is a collaboration of sorts. We can be competitors or we can be collaborators. I am starting a podcast. You're doing a podcast. I'm coaching, you're coaching, but there's so much room for everyone to do all the things. And if we all come together, there's so much progress that can come from collaborations. If you have an abundance mindset, you always have enough. You know that. And I don't feel like every dollar out there belongs to me.
As far as coaching, people are going to want to work with me for certain things, and they're going to want to work with you for certain things. I find personally that people who invest in themselves work with a lot of different coaches. Like I work with some of Bobby's clients, and Bobby works with some of my clients, and I work with a lot of people that have been certified. So everybody is looking for something different. All we have to just keep doing is showing up and being great leaders, serving our people.
Okay. Yeah, that's all we can do. And let me ask you this. What has been the most effective marketing geared towards agents that you found very useful that you'd like to share?
I do that PowerPoint presentation. It's short, sweet, and to the point, because real estate agents don't have a long span of attention. And it's all about how they benefit when they work with me, like how I help them get listings. So it's really laser focused. But then just dealing, like I interviewed Ellen Mann, and she said that which is something that I feel is a long-term strategy, but her strategy was getting her ideal clients who are young real estate agents through Instagram. So, and then Kathy Lee Chabelli said it was through doing philanthropic things with real estate agents. Some of my clients do networking. So some of them stop at open houses, and it's been really successful. So I think that you got to get in front of them. To me, the social media is a long-term marketing strategy, but it worked for Ellen. I mean, if you got to get money right in the door, you got to meet with them. I think networking, go to the Women's Counselor of Realtors, but be involved. You can't just sign up and not go. You got to, do the thing where you greet people so you can get to know them. And you can't just go once. You want to stay top of mind with them. But don't be that person that goes to a networking event and only wants to talk about yourself and not listen.
Nobody wants that. And then you go one time and then you don't go anymore. If you go with the genuine mindset of actually connecting with people, that would be so much more successful. It's funny that you mentioned Ellen Chabelli. I actually recently, I had an interview with Ellen and we were talking about you.
Well, Kathy Lee Chabelli and I have known each other since we started staging, and we were in this group called Active Rain with Michelle Mensch and
fly on the wall, because I was an agent at the time, and I was just like one of those people in the group who never said anything.
But I remember she lived, Kathy Lee lives in California, and I'd be talking to her in the middle of the night and we'd be brainstorming stuff. And yeah, she's been a really good friend.
I love talking to people who have been there longer than I have, especially just to listen to all the experiences and words of wisdom that you have for aspiring home stagers. So thank you again for doing this. Before I let you go, let me ask you this. What are your future goals? You asked me this question when I interviewed with you. What?
Well, I mean, I just plan on really building my coaching practice, and that's really where all my focus is. I don't have a website for staging anymore. I still do it. I still love doing consults. I've always loved doing them since 2005, but really my whole focus is on coaching and mindset and business strategies, and getting business from real estate agents and fine tuning your messaging. The things that I probably focus on the most, but it depends on the individual. So yeah, that's really my plan. That's where my whole heart and soul is now. So
that's a much smarter answer than I gave. All I did was I wanted to just lay on the beach and do nothing. That's my.
Oh, no. You know what? I'm 67 years old. I do want to travel. I definitely want to travel more. You know, I lost my husband a couple of years ago, and staying busy is really important to me. I'm doing what I love in my business, and you know, and spending time with friends and family and traveling and doing my yoga and climbing mountains, stuff like that.
Love
And
it.
maybe someday I'll meet a prince in shining armor, but I think I already had him.
Yeah. That's it. That's just one of those lifetime things that you have a gift that it's forever, right? Regardless whether they're here or not. And I see you post photos of your family online. I enjoy looking at your grandkids and all the things. So one fun question before I let you go. What is one homestaging trend you wish it would make a comeback?
Oh boy. Well, I think what's happening, which I'm very happy about, is colors coming back, which I love. I think, you know, the grays and the whites were really beautiful and very serene, but I think people are ready for color, and I'm really excited about that.
I am all for color. I have everything neutral in my warehouse as far as the big stuff, but we're known to pop it with artwork and all the things. I don't know how to do this tone on tone. It just seems boring to me. I like to infuse a little bit of color into everything. So yeah, I love that. That's a good answer.
Well, it makes me happy.
It does, right? Well, thank you so much, my friend. This has been enlightening, and I am looking forward to catching up with you again. You've been listening to the Business of Homestaging podcast. Remember to share, like, and subscribe. For more business resources, or if you need help getting started in the world of homestaging business or any business for that matter, or you're looking for growth strategies, reach out to me on thebusinessofhomestaging.com so we can create a roadmap to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Thank you for joining me on this episode, and keep doing all the things. Until next time.